After taking Kabul in 1996, Mullah Omar sends his troops to crush the Northern Alliance, and Afghanistan descends into vicious tribal war. Soldiers won't be the only casualties in this ethnic conflict. The Taliban also targets civilians. Omar's followers unleash a devastating new weapon: hunger. It's the winter of 1998, and the Taliban have closed off all viable roads into the Hindu Kush Mountains. These roadblocks bar United Nations food convoys from reaching the homeland of the Hazaras, a tribe of Afghans thought to be descended from Genghis Khan's Mongol warriors. As temperatures dip below freezing, food shortages affect at least 1 million people. Starving Hazara children play a modified game of cops and robbers, in which they fantasize about ambushing a convoy of wheat and bringing it home to their hungry families. They call the game Taliban.
The Hazaras were rebellious, and the Taliban were meeting resistance. So Afghans tend to be ruthless when it comes to taking revenge. Revenge factor, which is in the Afghan blood.
Important religious differences add to the bad blood. The Taliban are largely Sunni Muslims, while the Hazaras are mostly Shiites. Islam split into these two groups in the 7th century over a disagreement about who should succeed the Prophet Muhammad.
Traditional Muslims do not view Shiites as non-believers. They're recognized as being Muslims. They're within the Muslim community.
But to the Taliban, the Hazara Shiites are infidels, or worse.
What you're seeing is simply the application of an interpretation of Islam that makes Shia less than human beings.
Now the Taliban embark on an ethnic cleansing campaign. This Hazara woman remembers the terrible day Taliban troops came to her province.
When the Taliban came and took the houses, they martyred all the men. They killed them. My brother was 10 then. They beat him in the head with a cable so much that his nervous system got damaged.
In Mazar-e-Sharif, the Taliban kill at least 5,000 Hazaras, according to UN estimates. The only thing standing in the way of future Taliban massacres is Ahmed Shah Massoud. Civilian refugees soon flock to the protection of Massoud and the Northern Alliance.
400,000 people were displaced by Taliban. The only way to support these people was 2 helicopters that Commander Massoud had. The helicopters were bringing breads from Tajikistan.
As Massoud wins hearts and minds, he also begins to see some success on the battlefield. The Taliban have more men and better weapons, but few in Afghanistan can match Massoud's military mind. Fazal Ahmed al-Manawi was a Northern Alliance commander.
Ahmed Shah Massoud would fight using tactics and would gain a lot with a few casualties. He paralyzed the Taliban several times or caught them by surprise.
With Massoud standing his ground against Mullah Omar, regional powers cast different bets on which group will control Afghanistan's future: the Northern Alliance or the Taliban. For Pakistan, the choice is simple.
Generally, Taliban were Pakhtuns, and Pakistan has a geographic linkage and an ethnic linkage with the Pakhtuns. This Northern Alliance was supported by our enemies, basically Iran, India, and Russia. Now, what was the choice in Pakistan? The choice was being with supportive of Taliban.
Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates joined Pakistan as the only countries to recognize the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. The Taliban also become a pet cause amongst Islamic militants, including the budding terrorist leader Osama Bin Laden. Bin Laden and Omar have become fast friends during Bin Laden's exile in Afghanistan. Today, former CIA officers reveal what American intelligence agencies knew about the growing connection between the two men.
Bin Laden was helping Mullah Omar toughen his army. in providing expertise to the Taliban about how to build highways, about how to run their economy, about how to improve agricultural production.
One of the things I discovered when I went there was the extent to which the Taliban and bin Laden had more or less merged.
With Mullah Omar's blessing, bin Laden opened several terrorist training camps around the Kandahar area.
What bin Laden did for the Taliban is, in exchange for the territory he held and all the hospitality that he was shown in his time in Afghanistan, he gave them men.
The front lines of the Taliban's war against the Northern Alliance are soon teeming with holy warriors from around the globe. The forerunner of bin Laden's terrorist army, Al-Qaeda. Many are Pakistanis. According to former CIA officers, current Pakistani President Parwez Musharaf was responsible for sending scores of Pakistanis to fight alongside bin Laden and the Taliban. Musharaf wanted his troops to gain combat experience in Afghanistan before being deployed against India in the long-standing war over Kashmir.
General Musharraf was instrumental in using Afghanistan as a training ground for the guerrilla campaign in Kashmir.
The freedom struggle in Kashmir, 17 years that goes on. We were killing each other on the border every day.
Kashmir-bound Pakistanis, bin Laden's Arab fighters, and fresh recruits from the madrasas along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border combined to give the Taliban an enormous advantage over Massoud's Northern Alliance.